Cordell, thank you for taking the time to meet up with me this morning. And we surfed 28th, 29th Street in Newport before this, and now we're at your office. And like I said, I already on the way back from the beach, between here and there, you had a friend with you. You picked up another friend and gave them a ride, and then there was a guy waiting in the front to meet you here, and a guy in the back, one of the glasses in the back, waiting to meet you here. You're one of the most sought after people in the surf world. So again, thank you.
Well, maybe a Newport on occasion.
It's good to be loved
At times, yeah.
All right, you're when I started this podcast, you were one of the first guys that came to mind as far as wanting to interview someone about surfing and about the surf world in general, but like really more about surfing, because I think a lot of, like, for magazines and other even radio and podcast stuff about surfing, it's always about like the industry and this and that, but it's not always about surfing. Or when it talks about surfing, it gets really weird where it's like, so what kind of vibrations, like, you know, and it's I'm sorry if you're like a good vibrations person, I'm happy for you and I'm down for you and all that kind of stuff, but like, I don't know. I think there's a happy medium between being happy and having fun surfing and actually like practically, you know, doing it in a practical way. And I really do think, Cordell, you epitomize that, because I've never surfed with you when you haven't had fun, but you take surfing pretty seriously. You did it for a living for a lot of years as a professional like surfer, and you shape surfboards, and you try on waves still, even though you're well into your 60s, or you're very old. But yeah, we surfed. You got to the beach before me this morning, and you're ripping. You got this really long left. I'm like, oh my God, he's going so fast. Like, what's the secret? How do you stay happy surfing for so long in your life?
Well, I pretty much started when I was 9, and it's something that you just fall in love with basically instantly. You know, once you're a surfer, you're kind of always a surfer, you know, except for Cece. He's probably the only one. But you know, so I fell in love when I was 9, and it's given me everything I have in my life. I mean, you know, I'm 44 now. Like you said, I'm getting up there, double digits, and double fours. But I'm just as passionate as I've ever been.
It's strange. Like we're going to get into the whole lowers thing and all that stuff. Where was the first place you surfed? Where was the first place you caught a wave at 9 years old? Where was it?
Was basically where we just were.
Okay.
At Blackie's.
Is that why you make me surf there every time? If we surf together, it's either 28th Street or Lowers. That's the only place. Like, everywhere else can be firing. It doesn't matter if we windy on shore. No, it's dude, bro.
I just don't know how to go right. I only go left. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's going? No, we're good. We're recording a podcast. That is visitor number 1 to the show.
Chris, just pull it. Just pull it.
Just pull it. It looks locked, but it might be locked. Sorry, Chris is trying to get into the glass room.
No, it's locked.
1974. Just go to 1974. I think it's right there.
Yeah, the padlock code for Cordell's glass room is 1974. By the way, if you ever need to throw a brick through the window and get in and get some some unsanded boards.
Thank you, Chris.
Well, I'd love to say we'll change that as soon as the show's over. That will never change. That's probably his PIN number for his ATM. I'm assuming for any type of banking or online interaction, just use those numbers. That's terrible. All right, so that was good. Who was that, Cordy?
That was Chris. He's our sander.
Okay, so you're Sanders.
He's been doing glassing too.
So Sanders and glasses. I like Chris. Chris is one of your I've known Cordell. I've known you for over 20 years, and I would say, I was joking earlier in a text saying 97% of your employees over the last 20 years have terrified me. Chris seems like a good guy.
Okay,
he seems like he wouldn't stab me and then sell my organs or
But you caught him on a good day.
Shoot me at a bar on Placentia and then do meth off my body for a dare. Chris seems like a solid guy. So hats off to him.
That. That's a plus.
Yeah, it is a plus. So
because we lost you, we need you to come back around every once in a while.
So you're 28. Who took you surfing? Where'd you surf?
My mom and dad. I surfed with this guy Cliff Mason.
Okay.
And his mom used to drive us after school in 4th grade, and just obviously just fell in love like everybody who's out in the water. We're all in love with surfing, you know.
Yeah.
You know. So
did you find that because 28th Street, like Newport is, I'm from Huntington, so Huntington is more of we were talking earlier, like a fatter, more slopey wave, but it kind of teaches you how to surf better because it's hard to generate speed and it's lumpy and it's never good.
Yeah.
Newport, it's like I tease you for making me come down here, but I really do enjoy it because it's a steeper wave, it's a hollower wave a lot of time, it's a faster wave a lot of time, but it is faster. It's faster and lungier. Was it harder for you to surf and to get better, like as you progressed, as you started actually like getting older and wanting to do turns and stuff like that, or was it like did you surf other places? How did that work?
I competed a lot as a kid through the Quicksilver series, and that was at 54th Street. So I got to the point where I do okay, but the wave you don't have to try to generate speed necessarily because the wave's so steep and fast. I'd go to Huntington, compete in Huntington, and I struggled, because the wave there, you definitely, it's deeper. It's and it's mushier.
Tommy Resman, the first swell of the year in January, Tommy Resman got that surf line clip, that left barrel at Huntington. And the reason it's so amazing, it's a 2 or 3 foot overhead wave that he gets barreled on a shot from the pier, so it looks smaller. But the reason it's an amazing barrel is because Huntington is like an almond-shaped, at best, barrel, and it's warbly and it's chunky. Like Newport, you can get a very square, like beautiful barrel at like 28th or 56 or even the river jetties. Yeah. But Huntington, like it's not a slab like the box pitch. I mean, like it's just a slab of crappy flat water that gets steep at times and then backs right off. So it is more difficult. But I always kind of like respected the Newport guys growing up because it seemed like you guys, the older guys were a little bit older, the guys my age and the guys even younger, picked up airs and stuff a lot quicker because the waves have more pop. And it's like, dude, when I come surf down, I'm like, dude, why doesn't everybody down there just do airs every wave? It's like a skate park, you know? Yeah. Because at Huntington, to do an air, you have to be, you know, being towed behind Bud Lamas and going, you know, the downhill to get some speed. But here it's like guys like Matt Patterson, big guy. What's he, 6'3"?
He's 6'6".
He's a big guy, and back in like the 90s, he's in this Quicksilver ad. He can do airs. Yeah. The guy at 6'6" can do airs at Newport. Not so much. Yeah, exactly. You need Newport or Salt Creek for the pop in Orange County. The Huntington is very. Yeah. You know, there's Huntington guys that do really good airs, obviously, but it's a lot of work. Yeah. So you surfed. You said you competed. When did you start competing? Like, when did it go from just surfing casually, or were you that kid that, like, if you played soccer, you were like all in playing soccer? If you played baseball, you're all in playing baseball. How did it work out?
Yeah, not really, but surfing was my main escape. You know, my parents moved to Laguna Hills when I was 13, so I rode dirt bikes. That must have been so hard.
I
know. I stopped surfing for like a year.
There's another podcast somewhere being recorded like in Brooklyn about rap, and it's like, yeah, that's when we moved to Bed-Stuy. My dad got shot in front of me. Like, we moved to Laguna Hills, and it was hard. I was dirt biking a lot, and surfing was an escape from the filthy, noisy hills of like.
But I moved down. I surfed Salt Creek a lot. You know, with like Pat O'Connell and Vinny and
you were right in that era.
Yeah, you know, those guys are my age, and they accepted me pretty cool, and they never got vibed, and it was cool, man. You know, Quicksilver sponsored me when I was young, when I was 15, and so it was like, because of their acceptance to me, I kind of felt like I got accepted everywhere I went. It was pretty cool. That's
again, you're one of my first guests on the show because you're my friend, but also like, yeah, you really did. You have been in the surf industry for so long, but in such a cool way. Like, okay, we'll get into it with lowers. You're like, honestly, like the mayor of lowers. Like, you surf lowers pretty much every day in the summer that you can when you're not golfing, which is an unfortunate thing. I know a lot of surfers like golf. I'd rather wave storm a 1 foot mushy wave than golf Pebble Beach or whatever. But you do your thing.
It's true.
Hang out with old guys.
I was that way,
that's not creepy at all. That's a good,
It's just either you get the bug or you don't. Obviously,
it's easier on the knees too, probably. So that's good for you. But early on, it seemed like you are so easygoing. Like, you got along with everybody, and you're one of those guys like at lowers, like where you were like, even when you're younger, you're like a pro surfing lowers. I don't feel anyone ever feels like you dick them over for waves, although you do get a lot of waves. It's a very strange feeling. There's a few guys that I surf with that surf very well. They're like that. Like, they're kind of hustling you for waves, or they're always in the right spot, but you don't feel like they're being a dick about it. And I really do. That's one of the things I've always appreciated you as a surfer. I'm like, that Cordell surfs lowers. He gets a lot of waves at lowers. I always sit on your right because I know if the set's coming in, I can get it. If I sit right, if we're touching rails, I know I can go right because you're probably going left. You know, you bring the back set out twice a year, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you're not like a jerk though. You should be. You know what I mean? You get a lot of weight. I don't mean you should be, but I mean, like, you're in a position where, like, you know everybody at lowers. You get along with everybody, even sponsored by every company you ever lived. But you're always kind of like a decent dude. And where does that come from? Because I feel like as a surfer, your first impulse when you see like a good wave is like, oh, I want that wave. I must get that wave. But you're very, I don't know, patient. What's going on inside your head that makes you that way? Or what?
Well, the reason why I get waves at lowers is because I've been there forever, and I really know where to sit, and I know the locals. So it's like they sit next to me, I sit next to them, and I know who's going where. You know, so it's easy. There's a formula kind of to it, and a pecking order and stuff. But the reason why most of the time, I obviously do. There's times I struggle, I get upset, or I get frustrated when kids paddle around you or somebody seems to be disrespectful. But you know what? You just roll with it. I don't have fun I don't surf good if I'm not having fun. So it's like I've made that pact with myself. I don't allow myself to get that upset. You know, and if I do, it's temporary and I get over it quick because I realize, hey, I'm not sitting in traffic. I don't have a real 9-to-5 job. Like, I can't complain. I'm super lucky, fortunate, and to be where I'm at, you know?
Real talk, would you say you're too blessed to be stressed?
Exactly.
Just like the bumper sticker and the cat poster. That's an amazing insight.
I've never seen that one, but whatever. But
I will try and find a picture of it on the internet. I'm sure that many of them exist. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing with lowers too. We're talking about Lower Trestles in San Clemente, which one of the best, most high performance waves in the world, and honestly one of the most crowded waves in the world. And when we surfed this morning, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't see you almost all in the last year. I didn't see you almost all summer because I only surfed lowers once last summer because all the beach breaks were good. So I surfed Huntington and Newport and places around close to my house. I was too lazy. We have a 2-year-old, so it's like a 5-hour round trip thing to lowers is harder to do when you have a little kid and your wife wants you to pick him up from daycare and you get in trouble. Not trouble. It's love and it's a partnership. Trouble if you can't pick Junior up from school on time and your hair's wet and the teacher knows that you're late because you're surfing, which has happened before. But I haven't seen you at lowers because lowers is so crowded now. Do you feel like, because you've been in the water lowers almost 3 decades, not to make you feel old, but like 30 years.
Yeah.
Do you feel it's more crowded now, or is it just that I'm older and crankier?
No, surfing's growing. Dan, and that's what's exciting about the wave pool that Kelly created. People are gonna start. I mean, that right there is every surfer's dream.
Yeah.
And everybody who saw that first wave on video, it's like we're all there.
You can get an 8-second barrel, do an air and hit the lip. I mean, yeah, you can't. That's the mental wise in your backyard.
So that's the dream, and
or mentalities.
But surfing, because of the cameras and because of the industry, it's growing, and people are moving here because it's a great place to be, and so it's definitely getting more crowded, and it's harder to get more and more windows of opportunity out there, especially with the live cam, So it is what it is. You just got to flow with it and just be grateful that you're allowed to physically be able to do that.
I feel, and we've both been around so long. I have a very early 90s vibe on surfing again now. I feel like it is. Remember early 90s when surfing got real popular and every surf company's logo was in a sideways oval as well. Yeah. But I feel like it's kind of like a little boom where even though the surf companies aren't doing that well, I feel like the surfing, I see more people in the water and
it's growing, dude. It's growing, man. Everybody, and people, SUP, stand-up paddle, as much as we obviously think it's kind of whatever, it's really...
but that's helping bring more people to the ocean, too.
When you wake up in the morning, where do you want to be? You want to be on a fucking desk? Excuse my language. More people should be doing things that they love than sitting behind lights,
Yeah. And I don't know if it's some, but I just think that more people, it's weird, like when I surf places like Huntington, Newport, not as much, Huntington really, because it feels like there's bigger parking lots there. It's like a floodgate. It's like where everybody empties out of Beach Boulevard. A lot more people rip. A lot more little kids rip. A lot more 25 and 30-year-old dudes. A lot more 40 and 45 and 50-year-old dudes freaking rip. You're 44 and you're professional surfers, so you don't count. And my friend Jay Larson doesn't count, and the Deaf and Boss don't count because their DNA is just athlete, good surfer. But I mean, there are average dudes that surf the pier that I'll see out. They're if I'm 41, they're older than me, and they're throwing tail and doing 3 good turns in a way. Like Bobby Baker, Bobby Baker. He's that older guy, a little older than me.
There's a lot of underground guys that really rip that you've never heard of.
I mean, he's in it. But I mean, there's other guys when you're growing up that are oh, that guy's 20 and he rips. I mean, this guy's 47 or whatever he is, and that freaking guy, he rides the tiniest boards.
Well, that guy's been ripping forever. He's just kind of was more of a soul surfer. He didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess he didn't really chase contests or anything, so that doesn't count either. He's physically athletically gifted.
Has their really good surfers,
But it seems like people when I was younger, guys would just kind of give up. Like the guys that were 30 when I was 19 hanging 17 and 19 hanging at the pier at Huntington in the summers. By 30, they were smoking cigarettes and they would bring their board down maybe and then talk to chicks, then go out at night and drink and whatever. They wouldn't surf that much. Now the older guys, I'm seeing them early in the morning. I see there's a late morning crew, mid morning crew, early afternoon crew. It seems like everyone's surfing, not just new people. That's the thing too. Is Huntington is nobody quit surfing, so everybody surfs now. But it is a lot of. I hold myself in not very high esteem as far as being a surfer. I think I'm the worst surfer ever. But there are a lot more kooks. There's a lot more beginners at I don't want to say Huntington's the A-list spot like the pier, but there's a lot more beginners that surf the pier instead of surfing Golden West or River Jays, kind of working their way up to more advanced spots. And it must be great for you as a shaper. It's oh, those people are all going to get too good for the wave storm and need a new board, which is good for you. But as a surfer, you're stoked that people are stoked at surfing, but you're you wish they'd be stoked somewhere else. You know what I mean? And that's kind of feel lowers is now. I don't know if you noticed this with lowers. It feels like there was an outside pack of 40 to 80 guys, depending on how crowded. But now there's that inside pack of 40 to 60 guys. There's 2 different. It used to just be the groms, 5 or 6 groms on the inside. Now there's a flotilla of just as many people sitting on the inside at lowers. So when you're taking off in a set, you're cutting through a dozen dudes just to go the way you're going to go. It's very strange, and I don't feel like it was like that 10 or 15 years ago. Is that the case, or?
You know, back in the day before the live camera, and before, you know, the Hurley Pro just kind of blew up, you know, and it really exposed it, and Oakley and all its companies, you know, they've really exposed lowers, you know, and it's kind of a bummer for the older local guys because they can't get away, you know. It's like people come into your backyard, but the truth is the ocean's just everybody's, and you got to deal with it. So
yeah.
It's definitely, it is what it is. But I'm telling you, the hope that I see, and I'm encouraged because I really feel, Danny, remember when we were kids, skateboarding was illegal?
Yeah.
And now they're building skate parks at every corner.
And like, we're talking like late 80s and 90s. You couldn't build all the ones from the early 80s they couldn't get insurance, so they all shut down and they were like graveyards. And then like the 90s,
every high school should have a wave pool, dude.
And that's why street skating blew up so hard, is because there was no ramps and there was no parks, so guys just got good at like handrails and crap like that. Now skate parks are half bowls and half handrails and you know, crap like that. But yeah, I do. I feel that vibe again. Like it is surging up, and like I said, it's hard because living in Orange County and living like in the middle, like we're on the same street where like Hurley and Ruka and Volcom are right now. It feels, I really does feel like it's going to boom again and blow up.
I mean,
and hopefully in a good way, not in like a 1986, you know, Huntington Beach surf riot, you know, idiot way. But
I was there when I watched that thing start. I was scared. It's gnarly.
Again, Cordell, the tough streets of Laguna Hills, and you were scared of a surf riot.
No, hey,
not a lot of street cred.
No, it was scary, dude.
Yeah,
it was scary because people were throwing shit. The cops. It was gnarly, man.
And there's fires and it was,
yeah, like it was real. Like, you know, he didn't when you get 50.
No, I mean, we had a mini one like 3 or 4 years ago where people tipped over a porta potty and broke a window. It wasn't very. But yeah, when it was a very hipster emo-y kind of a riot.
Another reason why I'm not into really big crowds, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, except you surf lower. That's the thing though too. So speaking of lowers, because you and we talked about underground guys. Who are some of the guys that surf lowers that maybe people don't know, that just like you've seen them out for years and years and they just rip, and like they're great guys? And don't say Nate Yeomans, because Nate Yeomans, like, he was on the tour. He's like, of course Nate Yeomans, I see him out every night. I'm like, God, that guy. He surfs lowers so well, by the way. Sorry, I know,
yeah, no,
like
Nate
he's such a nice guy, but he's just so he's funny too. But he's so smooth. It's like watching him, talented. Even when it's crowded, he just like smooth. Like he's like.
I used to make his boards when he was like 13.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. He goes through the pack, and like he's the kind of guy. Like if I ever get snaked by him, I don't feel like I'm getting snaked because he's like such a nice guy. I'm like,
you're like, just go.
You go, buddy. You go rip this one. Do 2 air reverses, whatever.
Nate shares. You know, there's greedy people, dude. There's people out there that don't really care about you know anybody but themselves, and they put off that vibe, and you kind of just try to avoid them. But then there's guys that are just cool.
So who are the guys that are good? Like the top couple guys in your mind that come?
Well, there's like Jason Miller. He's one of the local kids. There's Drew, and there's Brandon. These are the local kids down there.
Okay.
And there's JP. JP, kind of, I haven't seen him in a while. Those were the St. Clemente kids that I grew up with. Or, you know, I was older and I watched them come. And then obviously the Godowskis brothers, they come together. And then I'd have to think about it, you know, and write some stuff down because there's a lot of fumes here.
There's a lot of fumes in the shaking J. Well, here's a question. Who do you think surf lowers the best out of your mind over the last, like, you know, between now and, like, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, like, surfs it well, like surfs the wave good, because it's such a rippable wave. Like everyone surfs well at lowers.
Like, you know, Mark Lindblad, he's an amazing surfer.
Yeah,
and nobody's really heard of him. And he surfs like Aki. He's so good. Mm-hmm. And he lives down there. His son's actually hanging out with Kaloe a lot, and Kaloe's kind of helping him, you know, taking him under his wing. Cuddly little kid. He was like in a milk commercial. And you know, and there's this kid Ryder that rides my boards. He's literally 10. And he's doing airs, and he's talented. He's a really good kid. Great head on his shoulders, great attitude. Just love him, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's actually a lot. There's this kid that's Jet Schilling. He's amazing. He surfs like a man, and he's like 90 pounds.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
He's like probably the best young kid coming up. I think he rides for Rip Curl and he gets Merrick's.
It's funny when younger people like, oh, these kids are like when air was, you know, because we were old enough, like where air is like. It's so funny to me, like the commentators will write off a guy in like a contest, like, well, he's more of a power surfer, he can't really do his airs, but the guy's 25. You're like, dude, Wade Carmichael can do airs. I'm sorry he has a good rail game and he surfs Hawaii well, but they kind of are like, yeah, he's kind of an old school guy. He's like, he's not old school. That kid can do an air reverse like anyone else. But I do, and the reason I say that is because I feel like the kids now are real well-rounded. Like 5 or 10 years, people are like, oh, they just flick the tail and they can do airs, but they can't do anything else. There's kids now, they flick the tail and do airs, but their tail's like 4 feet above the lip going backwards, and then they hit the next turn where they'll do turns where their tail does not come out of the water. They keep it in and they keep that bucket just flying, and then they go right into another turn. So I really feel like the flow and the connection of surfing with like younger kids, because I'm from the 90s. All I was trying to do when I was like 17 was copy, Jay Larson and Jeff and throw the tail out on every turn and fall and, ding my rail or whatever. And now that I'm older, all I want to do is keep my tail in every turn because I'm old and I don't want to slide and throw something out and then be on the couch for 6 weeks with an ice pack with my kid hitting me in the head with a lightsaber, which happened over the summer. Don't worry about it. It's just all I got to say. Anyone under 30 out there, go to the gym a couple times a week. Just get ready, because after 30, your body's going to fall apart. It's going to be garbage. Your knees are going to make noises like that Louis C.K. bit. It's going to hurt to put socks on, to like bend over to put socks on. Your body's just not going to be as good as it's not as good of a product after 30. So if you work out when you're younger and get it, keep it in shape, it helps out. Like, Kurt, aren't you vegan?
No, I've been a vegetarian since I was 29.
Oh, so you eat fish and stuff. You're not a psychopath.
I don't even eat fish. I'm more of a plant protein guy than animal protein. That's
really?
Yeah.
So that is more vegan than vegetarian then, right?
Yeah, I mean, vegan means you don't have any animal products, which is, it's not easy to do, but it's becoming easier around here.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about it, it kind of makes sense,
Yeah, dude, because like I said, I've known you for 20 years, and you are probably the same weight and same size and ride the same size boards as you did, 20 years ago, which is, what are you, how are you, 6'3"?
I'm 6'2". 6'2".
How much you weigh?
About 170.
Okay.
165, 170.
It's like that, probably the most you've ever weighed in your life, too, by the way.
No, I went through divorce. I got, some weight issues back in the day.
I'm not trying to drag out, like, sad lifetime stuff. But, hey, your diet's... I went through a divorce. You had a dog I liked to lock. Got hit by a car right in front of my family on Christmas.
Obviously, you cut meat and eggs out of your diet. You don't really... You're not going to gain weight,
What do you eat? Just like, what's your diet?
I basically eat like avocado and beans and rice and, vegetables and fruits and, chips.
Tacos?
If they're healthy, tacos.
Okay, you can have tacos. So.
Yeah, hummus, a lot of hummus.
But tacos, right?
Yeah, or
I don't mind
whatever.
all the beans and fruits and all that, as long as there's tacos and like you can have a taco once in a while, maybe a margarita. That's cool.
I mean, just vegetarian lifestyle. That's my That's my thing.
Well, I don't, lifestyle? Like, you don't wear like a lot of drug rugs and sandals, though. You're not like vegetarian lifestyle. You don't chant. Like,
no, but
you're not wearing any crystals.
No, but
you mean like diet? Well, you think about what goes in your body and what you eat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you've been pretty injury free too. For someone, you surf very well, and you still do all the hard turns, and sometimes doing air. Yeah. But you haven't, for a tall, skinny guy, you haven't blown out a knee or anything, right?
Yeah, no, I do. I stretch a lot. Dr. G got me into this post-isometric stretching, so it's where you kind of use your muscle to stretch and with weight resistance,
Okay.
And there was a time when I almost could do the splits, but I eat healthy and I take care of myself, and I don't ride motocross anymore, so it makes it a lot easier,
Because that really beats you up, and you can break your neck. So there's two things that are like inopportune about motocross. Yeah, you and Nathan Fletcher in the '90s were gotten into motocross, not together.
But he made it. He was
because
SMP was there at the.
It's so funny that Nate's such a gnarly guy now, because like in the '90s he quit surfing and was known as like a motocross guy for quite a while. Then I think he had a bad accident, or someone close to him had a bad accident, and they stopped doing it. I don't know the story, but he was really into motocross, and you were into motocross.
Yeah, he's rad, dude. Nate's got big balls.
Yeah, it's just so funny to see him.
He's a rad dude. He's a simple, nice guy. And
gnarly. But how did you get into? How long were you were into motocross?
I really got into it when I was young. I liked it then, and when I moved to Laguna Hills, I got a KX80 from Brett Maramoto, the shaper from Hawaii.
Okay.
And I just, dude, when you get weightless on a bike and you're railing corners, it's like surfing. I miss it.
Except for the howling noise and the pads and the helmet, the dirt.
That's what kind of makes it more. Riding, honestly, it's such a rush, but it's dangerous. And there's guys that aren't with us today because of riding. There's guys that are paralyzed because of riding. A lot more than guys that happen surfing. So
it's a lot more to it than just like grabbing a surfboard and a wetsuit and heading down to 28th Street. You got to drive somewhere and bring
expensive,
gas.
especially around here. Yeah, you're not.
You have to put a lot of stickers on the bike so it appears like you're. I don't know. Flashy? Is that true? That's not true, is it? No, I know nothing about motocross. I don't know a lot about anything about motocross, probably even less than normally the amount of information I don't have. Real quick, I want to I feel like every time you get interviewed about shaping, because obviously you're a surfboard shaper, and that's I don't want to just ask you the same question I asked a million times. But interesting thing, when I first met you 20 years ago, surfboards were longer. And then, 20 years later, now surfboards are like the height of the surfer and under. How do you feel that's affected surfing and the performance of surfing? Do you think it's for the best? Or do you see waves sometimes like on video where like, if that guy had a little bit longer board, would be better? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think Kelly's boards are a little short on him. Okay. Not to say you can pick perfection because he's the man.
Yeah, but dude, okay, it's hard to pick apart because he could ride literally a coffee
but in
table.
General,
yeah,
though, really. I mean, obviously, I'm sure everybody breaks everybody down. A lot of people think my board's too long, but I got super long legs, and when the waves are good.
Wait. How you ride like a 6'2"?
No, I know, but they look long.
Okay.
A lot of the people think my boards look long.
Okay.
Some of the people that ride the shorter boards. So it's just a matter of, I think if you have the right rocker, it doesn't really matter the length because it fits in the wave.
Okay.
But I do feel that you should ride a board about the same height as you.
Yeah.
And when you start going shorter, you obviously got to go wider. And that's
the thing.
Where I feel they look kind of.
I feel like if you go more, especially for a taller guy, it's hard to talk surfboards like not because I'm 6'3",
Yeah.
so like, and I all my friends that are 5'9", 5'10", I'm so jealous because they can ride anybody's board, and their boards are like perfect 27 liter, whatever, and they can ride a 6'1" or a 5'2", and it works great. And me, if I get on anything under 6'1", I feel like I'm standing up like a giraffe on a cork.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, totally.
Like
You're a big guy. You're one of the few guys that are bigger than me.
Yeah, so
and you got to ride 6'3".
Yeah, and
6'4".
I lost.
On 6'5".
I changed my diet. I didn't go full vegan, but like last year I changed my diet and I lost because I moved back. I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, and I blorped up. I gained like 30 pounds over 10 years, like 3 pounds a year. Not that bad, but I was like kind of skinny fat when I moved back down here a couple years ago. So the first year I kind of got acclimated, and then like I spent time. I lost 30 pounds in like 6 months because I quit drinking soda and quit eating junk.
Yeah.
And then I started exercising again. So now I ride a 6'2", but the problem is like if I ride 6'2", I have to ride 19 and a half, 19 and 5/8.
Yeah.
And I feel like the shorter you go, especially for bigger, you have to go wider. And do you feel that there's kind of a point when you start going too wide where it's almost like your surfing becomes kind of fishy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're riding a fish more than you're riding a shortboard. There's not, the rail is just, there's a lot of width there. How do you?
It's just physics. I think that obviously if you're trying to do high performance surfing, there's a shoe that fits. I know that with me, if I go wider than 19 and 5/8 on a shorter board that's like 5'10", 5'11", 6'0", it's just too wide. I like 19. 18 3/4 to 19 1/4. And I go from 5'11" to 6'2", and I ride the 5'11" or the 6'0s when the waves are literally chest high or below, waist high, and they work good. But as soon as the wave gets out high and you want to go straight up in the pocket, the board feels so short that you just feel like you're spinning in circles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like you're able to drive and do that long, drawn-out turn.
You see a lot of surfing at lowers. I mean, really, if you surf at lowers, you see a lot of people surfing their best and sometimes surfing their worst too, or having meltdowns. But like, what do you see? Like, you're not pet? You're a pretty positive guy. You're not like cranky like me. You don't have pet peeves. But what do you see like the most where you're like, oh, that guy should do, that guy's board is, if like you could change one thing on most people's boards, what would you change, or what do you think is missing sometimes if people are not surfing as well as they could?
Well, I think the whole retro thing. Ever since Rusty had that C5 challenge, and they start, Donovan, those guys were riding those Campbell boards, those twin fins,
the Bonzers.
It's like there's definitely different strokes for different folks. Not everybody's going to be Taylor Knox. Not everybody's going to be a competitive pro. Yeah. So they can kind of get into surfing and kind of that niche is like, hey, I'm going to ride a twin fin, and hey, I'm going to ride a fish, and I'm not going to try to rip. It's almost like they're anti-rip.
Yeah.
That's
okay. At the beginning of the show, and I said about positivity and having fun. I think they're being practical and functional.
Yeah.
You're a person who has fun, but you still try and you surf well, and that's kind of what I see. Like with those new people, I'll see a Huntington Pier. I see half the guys just kind of floating around out there, and not like you need to be like some aggressive 90s like aggro Johnny Boy guy trying to hit the lip and puff out your cheeks, but it's like I don't see the point of surfing every day and not trying to progress, get better, where you can hit the lip and do floaters and if it gets big, do a turn and stuff like that. Rincon's a perfect example. Like Rincon's is just super crowded, but in the winter it's like a big chunk of guys, old longboard guys, old guys rip, but there's a chunk of dudes that are like UCSB guys that like ride fishes and stuff and like ride these but they're like crappy fishes that don't work and would never work. Like Dane Reynolds he wouldn't have a problem, but someone good would have a problem on him. And they're riding these boards where you're just like, if you rode a little bit better or more contemporary board or less crappy board and tried, you could do 4 turns on a wave before falling in purling or sliding out or whatever. And that for me, that's kind of my pet peeve, is when I see guys that could surf better. And like, I'm not saying you're trying to do like 10 turns of the beach and claim every wave and be like, like you're in the CT, but like guys that aren't like, get a wave and try and surf the wave as well as you can, as long as you can. And that's coming from a guy who's old, like 41. I know. When I see young guys, I'm like, your body and your knees.
You started as a kid. See,
yeah.
It's like golf, man. I get out there and I didn't play as a kid.
I know the golf guys like, look at that kook. Oh, try harder, you Barney.
Well, it's just, there's guys that when you start something when you're young, you just have a natural knack for it. You don't have to work as hard. So
you think you're getting heckled on the golf course and guys are like, nice shorts.
Whatever. I'm a kook on the golf course. I'm having fun, and I'm getting better. And
leash on the front foot.
And I've shot par and actually one under par before, so I mean I can get it done. I'm starting to understand how I'm overswinging and not using my hands properly and unaware of the club face, but all that stuff's growing on me, and I'm getting better. The deal is that you feel like you're progressing. If you're stagnant or you're regressing, like a lot of people, they quit golf because it's hard, but there's a way to do it, and if you do it right, it's a lot easier.
Why do you think so many surfers, young and old, like to golf? There's so many surfers at golf. There's so many hunting guys at golf. It just cracks me up because
I just think because the waves are so shitty, and they're sick of dealing with the crowds and the crappy waves, and it's a beautiful time on the golf course. You get a time away from work or whatever's stressful at home, and it's like 4 or 5 hours of just hanging with your buddies.
So just walking around outside and then drinking.
Or driving around in a cart. Like it's relaxing.
Drunk driving. Okay, well I don't recommend that, but whatever, Cordy. You live your life. What else? The wave pool. So yeah, I know you have thoughts about that, about the Kelly Slater clip that came out the day after Adriano won, which is kind of a dick move. But what do you think? So what do you think the future with the wave pools is going to be? Because I think
they're going to be hopefully in every high school. I mean, imagine what they could be. Surfing, everybody does it. It's like yoga for any age, I mean, it could be such a great thing to get people into shape, help people lose weight, give kids, ability to respect the water, and it'd just be a lot of fun,
Yeah, I have a theory that like the craziest thing could be like the best surfer in the world could have been born this year in Indiana. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there could be some kid in the middle, because a lot of good surfers, if you dig deep and into it, a lot of them were born inland or somewhere rando and then moved to the beach when they're like 9 or 10 and then just ripped and then they were like off and surfing. Yeah. Like Poncho Sullivan, he's a Hawaiian guy, but his parents I think weren't divorced or whatever. He lived in like Washington State or somewhere rando until like he was like, I don't know, 10 or whatever. Then he moved to Hawaii and, stacked on muscle and just became this power surfing, colossus. Yeah. But, that's the thing, too, is I always think there's some kid that, he might be able to throw a baseball.
We're friends on Instagram. I'm going to say, hey, Colossus.
Colossus.
I love that. How do you spell that?
Yeah, dude, Poncho's a specimen. God, that guy surfed. And when he was in prime, he surfs small waves as good as anyone else, but moved so much water at the same time. Yeah, just all-around good guy. Yeah. But so you think the wave pool thing is going to be...
I think it's going to be amazing. I mean, the fact that now that there's a head-high or foot-over-head perfect wave, from there it's even going to get better.
Yeah. Where do you think it's...
Full stand-up barrels, man. They can make it happen.
Well, they made all this. We're almost done. Sorry. We have guests on the shaving. Cordell's, if you ever come here to get bored off Cordell, which I highly recommend because he's a great guy to hang out with and just chit chat with as well. If you come here, you will meet at least 9 new people because he has so many. You have a lot of friends.
Well, you
do, but it's like you said, you're an easygoing guy, and surfing is a weird world to be involved with because it's such a bro based economy where everybody's your bro and your friend, but people are kind of like half friends. It's it's weird. It's and I'm not talking when you're 15 or you're 45. It's the same kind of
you see a lot of people in the water,
bro shake. Kind of negotiating with people to split a peak, and then you see them, at Wahoo's, and then you're kind of buds, but you don't know the guy's name, and you call each other champ and guy and chief a lot like that, and a lot of weird half shakas, but but then you're like, who's that guy?
Then we're going back to the vibe.
Yeah, the vibe. No, it is
vibe.
Well, because I'm such a non-vibe person. I'm more like math and science and its practicality, but it is more. I have surfed more in the last 2 years than I did in the last 10 because, like I said, I lived in LA for a long time, and it's like I forgot about that. I'm like, oh, you kind of there's guys that I surf with, I know by look and sight and have full conversations with them. I have guys that tell me their deepest, darkest secrets, they're going through a divorce or a family member had cancer or the roommate got killed. Don't know their first name.
Exactly.
I mean, I know stuff that can either put them in jail or exonerate them. Don't know their first name. Yeah. Might even be friends on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But then I'd know their name. But like I said, some guys I surf with, I don't know their name till I see John Lyman post a picture of them on Northside. I'm like, oh, that guy's name's John. Good for John. That guy's cool. He let me have a left last weekend, when it was crowded. Yeah. But I don't know. We gotta wrap it up because you're a busy guy. Let's talk real quick. This is he's probably never talked to me about this. Let's talk about air sprays on boards. Let's talk about my favorite thing you ever did, by the way, is some of probably mid 90s, late 90s when you ran that ad for your surfboards, because at one point you had literally ridden for every surf company in the world. Sometimes at the same time, it felt like, does he ride for Quicksilver? Does he ride for Billabong? I don't. Maybe he's riding for Gotcha. Like what? It just seemed like you ran that ad of yourself where you had
around a little bit,
where you had painted on like every logo from every surf company that ever existed on one of your boards, holding it under your arm, and it said something like, business is business, but friends are forever, or some
friendship is everything.
Yeah, some kitten poster quote. You feel good vibration person. But no, I thought it was such a clever thing because it's kind of a stab at yourself. It was very funny, but it was also very cute. But it is true. You've kind of written for everybody, and you had a lot of stickers on your board at one time or other. But also airsprays. You used to. Your boards now seem like you love to make yourself boards, so you crank them out as fast as you can. They're white. There's no traction pad. And, luckily you have a lot of friends that are exactly your size, so you can like sell or flow them to, which is cool.
Yeah.
But what you are not afraid to put some color on a board. What's up? What's the story on that?
Oh, what do you mean? I do. Look, that painted that one.
Yeah,
blue and orange and green. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not that artistic. I'm not that patient. So the new thing is just slapping color, and this is for a girl actually.
Okay,
like, I want pink and green, and I'm like, okay.
So you just took one of your identical paint jobs for your own boards from the '90s and put it on.
No, it's like a lot of people too. They, how it is. People don't want to pay, but they want color. So I'm like, I want some color on there.
What's the
make it easy?
What's either you can pick this worst or best, so favorite or least favorite paint job you've ever had on a board that you ever given yourself where you're like, this is amazing, you're like, oh my god, and then you wrote it and then the board worked well or something, so you had to keep it.
I think I'm one of those guys where less is more kind of, and I think the boards you have tons of paint on them, it looks kind of gaudy, tacky. So I just put a little bit of color, and to me, I like color, I like stuff that kind of pops, but obviously there's a fine line that you just don't want to be like the, hey, look at me guy, everything matches, and you just feel, like you're kind of flaming, but...
Okay. Real quick, I wrote this down at home, and then, of course, I didn't bring a notebook, so I should have texted it to myself. You're tall, and you surf well, and I think the thing about you that you have a really good sense of is balance, and I think one of the things that sticks out about you is when you surf well in booties, which I freaking hate. All last year wearing booties. Last time I saw you at Lowers at like 70 degrees, you're like full suit in booties. You're like, this is a crummy full suit, but you're like wearing like 5mm booties, ripping in them, but none the same. What's the secret to surfing in booties?
Patience.
Patience.
You have to kind of just say, okay, look, the guys in Santa Cruz do it, so it's possible.
Yeah.
You find them that fit good, and it's hard to use a traction pad with booties because then you feel like you're wearing shoes.
Are you the one size smaller guy? What's a good fit for you?
I wear an 11, and in some booties I wear a 10, and some booties I wear an 11. So you just got to try them on. But I think it's just you have to give it a week or two.